What is up, guys? The Strong Boys 19 here, and this is going to be the album review for Black Sabbath's 5th studio album, entitled Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath was released in 1973, and Vertigo Records once again was the label for this album, and this is the follow-up to, as I called it from my previous review, the Cocaine album. That was Volume 4. Now, Black Sabbath decided to produce this album themselves. Patrick Meehan was not really available with the band to produce this album, although I did mention that he produced Volume 4 with Sabbath, but his contribution was, very small. The beginning parts of this album, after the tours of promoting Volume 4, Black Sabbath had rented a house to go to in Bel Air, and they always rely on Iommi to think of some more ideas for new material, but unfortunately, Iommi had nothing written. He had no clue at all. And the rest of the band were trying to move on and give up the addict phase of taking cocaine, but the problem was Iommi had been taking more cocaine than the rest of the band. And later on, the band had rented Clearwell Castle in the Forest of Dean, which is in Gloucestershire. Their experience at Clearwell Castle had been, quite frantic, because there were times where the band had witnessed some more figure in black ghosts and paranormal stuff, and later on, the band had been rehearsing and playing together in the dungeons, and it got to the point that the band was, really, messing about and pulling pranks at each other. But it turned out that they pulled a prank on Ward, the band's drummer, to the point that Bill really was terrified that one night he went to sleep holding a dagger on one of his hands. Bill thought that there was, really scary things that are happening at the castle, and Ozzy's room that he was staying in was set on fire because one of the boots that he wore was set ablaze. The beginning of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath came about when Iommi just came up with the riff while the band was rehearsing, and then everything just came to plan from there. And the band recorded this album at Morgan Studios, and also Rick Wakeman, the keyboardist of Yes, decided to be involved with Sabbath for a little bit to do some keyboard stuff on one of the songs, because at the same time, Yes had been recording their concept album, Tales from Topographic Oceans, in Morgan Studios. The band decided at first to give Rick money for his contribution, but he refused payment of money, so they decided to give him beer instead. The ending result of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is, in my honest opinion, possibly their most experimental peak. Whereas with Volume 4, they had been using other instruments along with the instrumentation, but Sabbath Bloody Sabbath was possibly the only album where they've been really experimental. A lot of the music on this album was including different instruments, as I said, from the keyboards, but others like synthesizers and strings, and a lot of different arrangements that were, I would say, like Paranoid in a way, in a structured feel. And a lot of people would say that Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is one of the band's best albums, and I would agree, but I would say it's not my favourite. So the album itself, musically, it really gets deep. There's a lot of grit and some heavier, darker music, and Ozzy's vocals on this album were really into a much more melodic phase. A lot of the lyrics from Gazer's lyric writing depicts on different stuff like the mysteries of the birth and the DNA, experiencing of creating a person to make a unique individual from the DNA. I find this album to have one of Gazer's unique lyrics. Drew Struzan was the artist requested to do the cover painting under the direction of Pacific Eye and Ear's Ernie Kefalo. The idea behind the artwork was to depict a man dying a horrible death on the front cover, and on the back cover, the same man dying a good death. It depicts a man on a bed, seemingly having a nightmare or a vision of being attacked by demons in human form. At the top of the bed is a large skull with long outstretched arms and 666 written below it. The other side of the album features the opposite of the front cover. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, the opening song, is a monster of a song. That simple but effective riff really builds and builds, and it gets stronger with Ozzy's powerful vocals and the bridge, which is the heaviest part of the song, and Ozzy's vocals just go insane on this song, and it's really, really good. One of the songs that I do love is Fluff, and this is the only instrumental throughout this album, and the sound of the song really takes things down on a much calmer and gentle tone, and it's a bit like Iguana Sunrise, but Fluff is, I would say, in a folky kind of side of music. A lot of acoustic guitar playing that was played beautifully, and the sound of the strings really blends very nicely. Beautiful instrumental. Other songs that I really liked, Saba Cadabra, and this is the only song that Rick Wakeman became involved with Sabbath to do some keyboard stuff on this song. Speaking of keyboard stuff, another excellent song is Who Are You? And this is the heavily synthesizer-driven song than any of the other songs on this record. So Iommi had been composing the music to Who Are You on a Moog synthesizer after Ozzy decided to buy it, and he had no idea how to work it out. Hence, that's why Iommi decided to make up the music for Who Are You? Out of all of the experimental stuff, as I said earlier, that this is Black Sabbath's most experimental album, but Sabbath's experimentation would continue on onto their next album, that would be Sabotage. There's a lot of really, really good riffs, some chugging riffs, and the musicianship is really, really good. Brilliant production, and I would give Sabbath a lot of credit for themselves to be the producers for the first time on this record, and there's so many great solos once again with Iommi, and the experimentalism really worked with the blend of the intensity of the music. So Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, in a way, is, to me, another excellent album, while I would say that Volume 4 is more of the higher favourite in my mind, but this album really stands out as one of the more unique albums in the entire catalogue of Sabbath's albums. So let me know what you think of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath in the comments below. Awesome production and songwriting, fantastic vocals, and I'm going to give Sabbath Bloody Sabbath by Black Sabbath a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.